It's a beautiful Friday morning here in St. Kitts and Nevis, and you are listening to 1FM 98.9. I'm your host for today, Devon Cornelius, and welcome to Voices. I am here with Dr. Jeffrey Hanley, the Honorable Dr. Jeffrey Hanley of the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party, and he is the parliamentary representative for constituency number 1 East Bastia. I reached out to Dr. Hanley and I told him, I want to have a conversation with you, and I think this is our first time speaking in an official capacity and in interviewing you on the radio. So welcome to the studios of 1FM 98.9. We're so happy to have you.
Thank you very much, Devon.
Yes. So this morning we will be talking about what should the people expect from Dr. Hanley now as a parliamentarian. I understand that you, prior to becoming a parliamentarian, you served in the education sector as a teacher. You worked with the youth department. And so you are, in my opinion, no stranger to the public. You are no stranger to interacting with people. You are no stranger to the general public, getting straight to the point. But we're here to talk about some politics, Dr. Hanley, and I know that I see you have your notes, so I know definitely that you are ready. So my first obvious question would be, why did you decide to enter politics? But before we get that, I'll allow for you to give your opening sentences.
It is indeed a pleasure for me to be here with you, Mr. Cornelius, in this episode of Voices. It's not my first time being in this studio. I remember spending many times here in the youth department. And now as the parliamentary rep for East Bastia, I am even more delighted to be here with you, and I look forward to our interaction.
Great. Thank you so much, Dr. Hanley. So just before you went into that, my question was, why did Jeffrey enter politics, and why no?
Mr. Cornelius, sometimes I wonder if it was I who entered politics, or was it a case of politics entering me? You see, I grew up with a very strong Labour mother, Gertrude Lewis, bless her soul. And so the political talk was always around me. She took me to political meetings, Labour events, marches. I, at one time, was the coordinator for the Young Labour group, and so on. And over time, I came to understand and accept that the Labour Party is a political organization that really cared deeply about the welfare of not just its members, but of the entire country. I found that the Labour Party stood for good governance, justice and fairness for all, and above all, the development of our people through education, quality health care, and land ownership, youth empowerment, and service above self. I believe in all those ideals, and I have decided my entire career is being an agent of positive change.
Mm-hmm. And Dr. Hanley, thank you so much for that response. That answers my question as to why you chose the Labour Party.
Well, with what I just said, you can see that choosing the Labour Party was an easy fit for me. My passion of youth development and youth advancement of Kittitians and Nevisians guided me after much prayer to take the bold step to answer the call of the people of the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party as a candidate for East Bastia. But I should ask, you ask me, why no? Mm-hmm. But I think the real question can be, why not now? Because, Devon, you would realize that the COVID-19 pandemic has highlighted a numerous difficulties facing our citizens at this time. Mm-hmm. Many of our people have lost their jobs and have been out of work for more than a whole year. And I would imagine you would have been hearing some of your callers calling in. And yet, in spite of the all talk and the chest beating, in my view, the government has still not paid them their severance benefits. The economy is in a death spiral, and this was confirmed by a minister, Minister Grant, just a few weeks ago. So it's not just Jeffrey Handy trying to make politics out of it. That came right outside, or right from inside rather, from the cabinet. We have yet to be told what is the government's post-COVID economic plan. The government would have us to believe that if they wave a magic wand, poof, St. Kitts and Nevis will go back to its normalcy to 2018, but we all know that this is, nonsense. There is no real going back to the old normal, and the new normal will require leaders with new ideas, innovation, strategies, and a bold new approach to governance and human development. And I am such a leader, and this is how I would respond to that at this time.
Dr. Hanley, I would say definitely that the COVID-19 pandemic posed a number of challenges financially, because people were displaced, people lost their jobs, and so it was hard for families to make ends meet. And I think the big issue now is with the severance. Some claims have been processed. The Prime Minister stated that some claims have been processed, and at the press conference for the Premier on Wednesday, he noted that most of the claims that have been processed were for Nivision employees. However, it does not hide the fact that there are still people waiting for their severance. It is my hope that they will receive that, because one should understand the tremendous difficulty that the people are being faced with regards to receiving their monies and making sure that they're able to provide for their families.
And I agree with that, and I would believe that, I would hope that it becomes a speedier process, because it's just last night I was in a conversation where somebody was talking to me in relation to the same severance payment, and, she indicated that one of her friends would have gotten 2 payments so far from the severance, but she haven't received one as yet. So there are, in my view, a lot of irregularities.
Right. If we may continue, Dr. Hanley, now, new politicians often say that they will bring something new to the table, that they will bring about a change, that they will bring about a different style of politics. My question to you, why should the people of St. Kitts and Nevis, specifically the East Bastia constituency, believe that Jeffrey will bring something new to the table?
Brother Cornelius, the people of East Bastia demonstrated their acceptance of my new style of politics on June 6th. Before and throughout the campaign, one thing was clear. They did not like Ian's labored style of politics. They did not like the arrogance, his pompous attitude, and above all, his gross incompetence. The government and East Bastia are still paying daily for the incompetence. If you drive on Wellington Road, you recognize that the new apartments, they have still not been occupied. East Bus Terminal has had to undergo expensive corrective works. The West Bus Terminal and the new cruise pier, as I indicated during the campaign, also appear to have problems, and the people of Frigate Bay and Half Moon are still crying out for good roads and reliable electricity and water services. That is the legacy of the former. And I was able to persuade people of East Bastia that my style would not only be different, but also much, much better. But of course, unfortunately, my party did not form the government, but I am confident that the next time around, once the opportunity arises, I will be elected as a representative in a brand new government. That will give me the opportunity to highlight my new style of politics, which is people-centered and founded on service above self, and bring relief to the neglected residents of East Bastia.
Now, Dr. Hanley, you are now the parliamentary representative, and so you are tasked with looking out for the people and providing for the people. Even though you are not a government minister, being the parliamentary rep, it is your duty, in my opinion, to speak on behalf of the people in Parliament. Now, as the representative for East Bastia, what are some of the areas that you think need attention and that you would make a priority? You are elected rep now, but if you are to become a government minister, but even now, in your capacity as an elected rep, what areas do you think you would like to address and that do you think need attention?
Well, as I would have mentioned earlier, we'll have to make sure that we have adequate and reliable water supply and even electricity, job opportunities, and of course, housing continues to be an issue. So these are some of the areas that I would be focusing on. And I must say to you that when it comes to the social aspect, I have been working with many families. Not that you're going around boasting and putting everything on the radio, but there are persons in the community who would have been out of electricity for extensive time, and since my election, I was able to get them electrical services on their homes, and I continue to support my people in whatever way I can. And of course, you know that I'm an educator. So my passion is in education and skills, social development, looking at the holistic person.
Before we continue, Dr. Hanley, we will take a break to say thank you to our sponsors, and we will be back shortly. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to WinFM 98.9. Good morning to all of you who have joined via social media, especially those who have joined via the Facebook link. We are going to take a short break and we will be right back. You are listening to Voices on WinFM 98.9, and I am here with the Honorable Dr. Jeffrey Hanley, the parliamentary representative for St. Christopher number 1, and he is of the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party. Let's take a short break.
Broadband and TV is packed with even more value, as you get a free Samsung tablet, free installation, and 50% off your bill for 3 months when you sign up now. Yes, a free Samsung tablet. Power all you do at home with up to 100 megabits per second super fast broadband. Plus, stay HD entertained with Flow TV. Stream, share, and do more on your new free tablet, which will also keep you connected on the go with ease. Sign up at a Flow store today. Conditions apply.
Gift for Dad's birthday? Click. Ooh, Janice's retirement party? Click. outfit for my girl's wedding. Click. With TDC Airbox, you click, we ship. Register for your free U.S. mailbox today and shop all your favorite stores online. Enjoy the convenience. Free consolidation up to £10. Competitive rates. Free package tracking account with live notifications. Free delivery and, of course, excellent customer service. Visit our website at tdcairbox.com and register today. For more information, visit our offices at the C.A. Paul Industrial Site in St. Kitts and Penny's Industrial Site in Nevis. Follow us on social media at TDC Airbox. TDC Airbox. You click, we ship. Terms and conditions apply.
Good morning, and welcome back to Voices on WinFM 98.9. I'm your host for today, Devon Cornelius. Again, let me say good morning to all of our listeners in the radio land, of course, those at home and abroad. Those of you who have joined via social media, Facebook, YouTube, and other social media platforms, good morning, and thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to be a part of Voices today for Friday, April 30th, 2021. As stated before, I am here with the Honorable Dr. Jeffrey Hanley of the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party. For those of you who don't know who Dr. Hanley is, he is now a parliamentarian, a politician, and so he, spent some time as an educator. He worked at the youth department. He was in charge of PEP, right?
At one point.
At one point. And so now he is in politics. Dr. Hanley is in politics, and that is what the conversation is centered around. Now, you're still relatively new and young to the political arena. So your political age is just over a year. So I'm not sure how you would answer this question, but what is next for Jeffrey Hanley, and do you aspire to head the Labour Party in the future?
Thank you very much. As you mentioned, that I would have spent quite a long time. Most of my career would have been in youth development and education. A number of projects would have been developed under my leadership. You ask me the question, what's next? Mm-hmm. But I have just begun. My constant focus is on strongly advocating for my constituents. My constituents have pressing needs for job, housing, health care, proper sanitation, road, reliable electricity, and water supply. This is what I will be focusing on. Of course, ensuring that there is a transformed education system and a strong social development approach so that our people can benefit as much as they can. As for the party leadership, if the party members, the rank and file, demonstrate that they want me as their leader, and of course, we have a democratic process for that, Mr. Cornelius. I would not reject such an opportunity. I do not see such evidence as yet, but I stand ready and properly prepared to take on that mantle with God's guidance and His leading. One of the things I would say, when you looked at the slate of candidates that the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party offered, all leaders. So, I will be guided according to the Master's plan.
You know, Dr. Hanley, and thank you for that response. As truth be told, many people have been looking and are still looking at what the Labour Party is doing, coming out of an election from last year and not being successful at that election and the election of 2015. And so people are looking at the Labour Party, which is most natural. This is politics, and so one would have to understand that people, because at the end of the day, politics is people, politics. And as a politician, one should understand that your power comes from the people. They are the ones who employ you. Mm-hmm. They are the ones who put you there to represent them. And so, yes, all eyes have been on the Labour Party in terms of what is next for maybe not just the individual members such as candidates, but what is next for the Labour Party in terms of where it plans to go and in terms of its leadership. But I want to talk about a topic, Dr. Hanley, that is on the mind and on the tongue of, I would say, every citizen and resident of St. Kitts and Nevis. And this is an issue within the health sector in terms of vaccination. And so, as a politician seeking office, one would assume that you're up to date with today's happenings and the current issue. And the much talked about topic right now is vaccination and people going out to get vaccinated, not just here in St. Kitts and Nevis, but across the world. We're seeing in other Caribbean islands that they are ahead with their vaccination. Some other islands are behind. And so there continues to be a plea for people to go out and get vaccinated. Some have taken advantage of that opportunity, and some have decided to take the vaccine, while others have said that they are not interested. Now, my question, or my simple question would be, what is your stance on mandatory vaccination? Because with the COVID-19 vaccine, because why I ask that is because we have seen other instances where in the past you have to show proof of being vaccinated for a particular disease in order to get access to this facility or that service. Now that we are in the world of COVID-19, as a parliamentarian, what are your stance, or what is your stance rather, on mandatory vaccination?
As you would have indicated, the question of the COVID vaccine is a very vexing one, not just here in St. Kitts, but throughout the world. For one reason or another, people hold very strong views on the vaccine. In my opinion, many of those views are valid, some are not, but that is just my opinion.
Right.
For my part, I have taken the vaccine and I'm due to take my second shot on May 5th. I did my own research and came to the conclusion that for me and my family, the benefits are greater than the risk. Having said that, though, I respect people's right to choose what goes into their bodies. But I will tell you this. The problem, as I see it here in St. Kitts and Nevis, is that the government politicized the pandemic from day one for what they may have perceived as a political advantage. We said from day one, tackling the pandemic required an all hands on deck, because we have the view that public health and economic health go hand in hand. The government thought otherwise and decided to do it alone. Now that the vaccine resistance have set in, the government continues to harden that resistance with the use of strong-arm tactic to force people to take the vaccine. That will not work. The government should instead try to win friends and influence people. This will achieve far better results, as the economy will start to rebound much faster. Furthermore, Mr. Cornelius, and this too has economic implications, the government continues to beat its chest about being number one in fighting COVID or generating surplus after surplus. Yet, more than 1 year after, persons losing their jobs and livelihood, poor working class people, are still deprived of that financial benefit. Do you think, Mr. Cornelius, that someone who does not know where their next meal is coming from will be eager to take the vaccine? That is the problem the government faces, and it's a problem of their own making. I personally call on the government to pay long overdue severance benefits and change its vaccine communication strategy to a more caring and compassionate one. Mm-hmm. What we are seeing and hearing are too many mixed stories, and that is what is resting on the minds of our citizens, the uncertainty of what's happening.
Mm-hmm. You know, Dr. Hanley, thank you for your response. The pandemic has affected all of us, and I like the part that you said, you know, it should be all hands on deck, and it should be an all of society approach where all of us should understand the importance of making sure St. Kitts and Nevis survives this pandemic, regardless of our political affiliation, regardless of how we feel about whatever issue. It is my view, and I hold that view, that the best thing for us is for us to survive this pandemic. As you spoke about mandatory vaccination, I would say that I hold that view in terms of it's a personal choice.
I agree.
It's a personal choice. So
And
even though
persons need to be responsible.
right, you know,
Yeah.
even though we would want to achieve herd immunity and everybody take the vaccine. And let me first congratulate you and for taking the vaccine, but it's a personal choice, and so you can't really vex with people or get upset with people if they have a legitimate reason for not taking the vaccine.
And I think what would have, if I can, I think what would have confused or changed some person's mind is the way in which we went about with the education rolled out with regards to the vaccine. Because I remember in Parliament, the leader of the opposition asked about what is the rolled out plan. How are we going to educate our people in regards to the vaccine. Maybe it was my, expectations, or maybe great expectations, where I thought would have been seeing billboards around the island, banners in terms of encouraging.
Right.
But what I got was an ad which I thought was a fake one, where you were being encouraged to take the vaccine so we could turn up Sugar Mass 50, which really caught me by surprise. I believe what persons were associating, in order for, carnival with vaccine, and there were persons who I heard, where churches can get their numbers and that kind of stuff, and then carnival now took the priority over with regards to the vaccine.
If I may continue, I think, providing the necessary information and making sure that people are informed. But just before I got into that, in my opinion, I think there are some people who had no real reason or legitimate reason as to why they would not take it, which is, again, in my opinion, that is your personal choice. And so, for me, I'm not going to say, well, you are detrimental to society because you did not take it. Understanding, yes, that COVID is a serious issue, and I would not want to see St. Kitts and Nevis get to a point where our health systems are overwhelmed and we can't deal with the outbreak, and because really and truly we cannot deal with that. And it is not something that I would want to see. And I doubt that it is something that anybody in St. Kitts and Nevis
I certainly would not
want to see.
Wouldn't want to see that either.
But I will agree with you when you said, it's a personal choice. It's a personal choice. Dr. Hanley, it is 11:45, and there are so many people listening. We have the Facebook, live stream, social media, and now we're going to open the phone lines to take some calls. The numbers to call are 466-0989-762 and 662-0989. You can also send us a WhatsApp at 662-2204. You are listening to Voices on WinFM 98.9. I'm your host for today, Devon Cornelius, and I am here with Dr. Jeffrey Hanley, the Honorable Dr. Jeffrey Hanley, the Member of Parliament for St. Christopher number 1, and he is of the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party. It is 11:46, and we will end off our program just about 12 noon for the headline news, and so we will be taking your calls at this time. If we have no calls, we'll say a quick thank you to our sponsors, and when we return, we will take some calls.
Buying your medication is easy with City Drug Store's curbside pickup. WhatsApp our certified pharmacist at 662-8769 with your requests. For prescriptions, take a clear photograph and send for review. We will engage you in dialogue and then provide a quotation and link for payment. You can then pay via TDC's online payment portal. And once the transaction is complete, you'll be notified that your pickup is ready. Yes, it's that easy. Send your WhatsApp message to 662-8769 to order your medications today with City Drug Store's curbside pickup service.
When they start them there, we are top man, we take charge. Magnum we drink, we are shell down hard. Blast like a star in summer gallopar. Overdo it, we take it too far. Take charge, take charge.
We are hot gal, we set the trend. Magnum we drink for the top man then. Wine with the style, no stop from spin. At blem, back bend, and take charge, take charge.
Magnum tonic wine, for the real star them. Take charge, take charge.
Must be 18 or older, drink responsibly.
Flow Broadband and TV is packed with even more value as you get a free Samsung tablet, free installation, and 50% off your bill for 3 months when you sign up now. Yes, a free Samsung tablet. Power all you do at home with up to 100 megabits per second super fast broadband. Plus, stay HD entertained with Flow TV. Stream, share, and do more on your new free tablet, which will also keep you connected on the go with ease. Sign up at a Flow store today. Conditions apply.
We have a caller on the line. Caller, good morning. You are live on Voices. Headphones. Good morning. How are you, caller?
Oh, you're giving God thanks, man.
Awesome.
Morning, Dr. Hanley.
Good morning.
Yes, it's nice hearing you, you know, because I was asking what has become of you. Since election, I have not seen or heard you, other than in the house. Now, let me address two things. Now, I think you heard in that when you labeled your opponent as incompetent, anybody with any kind of sense would know that he has greatly improved the infrastructure. Give credit where credit is due. Also, from your indication, they voted against him, so you won. This is what you said, you know, they voted against him. So you give God thanks for that. Now, you were in charge of the PEP. And the same set of things can be labeled against you. Because PEP was one of the most incompetent, I don't even know the words to use. And you know that. You know what went on the PEP. So you must be careful the labels you put on people. Be glad that you won. But to suggest that the man is incompetent, you wrote, I mean, things that your party could have done or should have done for 20 years were not done. Go down to the Old Road Bay. I mean, Bastia, the road thing. You're talking about they have to make some adjustments to certain projects. And the thing about the peer, you got to, I mean, don't allow them to poison your mind. The peer cannot be considered faulty because ships can go to it. And I want you, because I warn you already, don't allow certain kind of spirits to infiltrate yours. So, well, I want to wish you the best, you know. But please avoid that, because you see, once you go down that road, other people have other roads that could go down with you. And you're not going to like it. So be honest in your report. That PEP thing cost the government tons of money. Encourage on the employment and productivity among our young people until up to today. We can't get over it. Up to today, it's so ingrained in our young people that they must collect money and don't work. Mm-hmm. And that was sanctioned under you.
Right. Ms. Henry, we're going to take some other calls, so if you have any questions, you pause and then we'll take some other calls.
I wish him all the best, eh? But he must avoid going on the street when if somebody got to go down there with him, he can be embarrassed.
Right. Thank you so much for your call. We are still taking your calls here on WinFM 98.9. The numbers to call are 466-0989-762 and 662. If we have no calls, I'll allow Dr. Hanley to respond to the caller.
Thank you, Very much, Mr. Cornelius. It's unfortunate how people would want to carry out their own agenda and expect you not to say anything. Now, if you are given a project or several projects to do with money to run a Win FM, and every attempt you would have made, Win FM ends up spending more money on every major project that you, Mr. Cornelius, would have been given. Would you think that the owners of Win FM will say that you did a very good job, or would you believe that they would be saying that you are incompetent or you mismanage? What do you think they would say to you, Mr. Cornelius?
Very interesting question. I would say that is a rhetorical question. Why? Because you answered the question. You answered the question already. And so in a situation like that, one can only assume that that would be the response.
And I think the caller, one of my constituents, I believe she knows better, but we understand. But the government and East Bastia, we are still paying daily for that incompetence, because almost 2 years are close to, if not past, because I have lost track. Why can't persons be living in the houses at Wellington Road? You might have interviewed the bus drivers with regards to the East Bus Terminal. So all of those are just mistakes.
Thank you for your response, Dr. Hanley. We are still taking calls here on Win FM 98.9. It is 5 minutes to the hour. We are going to facilitate some more calls because we had a late start today. For those of you who are listening for the first time and you are interested in calling in, the numbers to call are 466-0989, 762 and 662. You can also shoot us a WhatsApp message at 662-2204. You are listening to Voices on 1FM 98.9, and I am here with the Honorable Dr. Jeffrey Hanley. We have another caller on the line. Caller, good morning. You are live on Voices.
Yes, it's me again. Now, Dr. Hanley spoke about the people over at Half Moon Bay who own the roads over there. Do you know?
If I know...
Dr. Hanley?
Oh, Dr. Hanley, sorry.
You should indicate.
Huh?
You should indicate.
No, I asked you who owned the road. I'm asking you because you were strong in your representation for the upper and...
But you appear to be an expert in
class.
everything, so Sister Sylvie, do you know?
Because I know that in some private projects, the roads belong to the developer.
And we are not referring to those roads. We are talking about the main road that government are responsible for. So you don't
that's why I asked
need...
you, because I heard one talking about this road with a tree in it and whatever. Because I think sometimes developers lose track of their responsibility. Now, another thing in terms of the water, have you ever encouraged them to build tanks in their yards? Because the issue with water is a perennial one. And there is the reservoir up on top of the hill. Have you ever asked them or encouraged them? And in fact, part of the problem I put on the physical planning. Because all of those houses, they should have had built into them systems. Well, they did not do it at first. I would suggest you encourage them to build systems. You have traveled, you go to the Virgin Islands, no matter how big or small the house is. Once you know that this area has water problems, you deal with it. Because what I find that a lot of things is diverted from poor people to the better off. Not only under your government, under all governments. It has been shown that because you're concerned about Frigate Bay and Bird Rock, you understand?
Right.
These are people who are able to help themselves.
Right, Ms. Henry.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
Newtown.
government
I
is
live in-
responsible
you
for
know, I live
helping
in Newtown.
everybody.
You
Ms.
don't wanna
Henry?
go clean up.
Ms. Henry, pose your question. We want to take a few more calls. Pose your questions as the other callers who would like to
Oh,
get
let me
in.
pose this one to him. Could you outline exactly what are you doing now? Because you know I can't see, right? The other day I sent a message. Tell you I have some books because I said you said you were interested in education and all of that. What plans do you have? Positive plans, not dreams, to help our young people, because we have so many of them delinquent, out of order, And in terms, I'll come again. This term, youth empowerment. I know you were trained well in it, right?
That's correct.
Eh?
That's correct.
Yes, I know. Have you considered giving of your service? The other youth department. Have you ever thought about offering? Because the other day you came to my mind.
I have always been connected. It's just
Have
yesterday.
you offered your service?
It's
Right.
just yesterday I visited
Right.
the ministry.
Thank you, Ms.
So,
Henry.
Yes.
We'll take some more calls. Dr. Hanley, go ahead.
Yes, as I was saying, I'm always connected with the youth department because that is where I lay that strong foundation for our youth programs in the Federation. And of course, I continue to make myself available. I participate in whatever they would have invited me for. There are times when I would have been given the opportunity to speak to groups, and I welcome those opportunities. And I will take it a step further. I've had conversations with the Minister of Education and Youth, etc., and indicated to him at any point in time that he needs my services, I will be ready because my life is centered around people and genuine service. And as I continue to develop the constituency, persons would realize the real change. There are a number of initiatives that I have brought on board, and some are best practices that you are reinforcing. And the young people in the constituency can look forward to great opportunities. And of course, again, I make myself available in terms of twinning with government because they can't do everything. So there are
Right.
things that I would want to do in my constituency. I'll try it out to you, Mr. Cornelius. One of the activities I have coming up, just a thought and an idea that we developed, is a kids can cook too competition, a cook-off, targeting our primary school children, using graduates from the CFBC Culinary Arts Program who have not been working. They are going to be working with these primary school students from wherever they come from.
Right.
And they are going to be teaching them some culinary skills and techniques. And in June, we are hoping to have those children display their talents.
Wow.
I would have indicated that as an educator, I am going to be building my community or the various communities within my community through reading and empowerment and training. So in quick time, we are going to be seeing some physical representation of projects.
Awesome, Dr. Henry.
And every year, I will ensure that at least one person, that's from my own resources and whatever assistance, we are going to set up an individual in a business, targeting persons who have that dream but feel that it cannot be materialized. And I'm going to make sure, Mr. Cornelius, to invite you
Thank
when
you.
that is going to happen. The good thing about it is that Miss Henry knows me well. She knows that I am the best choice. And she knows exactly what I'm capable of delivering to the people. She sends her best wishes to me all the time and blessings, and I accept them and I send back my love as well, and I will do well to visit her.
Thank you so much, Dr. Hanley. We are over the 12 o'clock hour, so we are going to have to take a break for the headline news. We're going to wrap up. Let me say thank you so much for accepting our invitation here at WinFM to be a guest on our Voices program. For those of you who are listening, this was Dr. Jeffrey Hanley. He is the parliamentary representative for the East Bastia constituency of the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party. Dr. Hanley, thank you so much, and I will now allow you to wrap up as we take a break for the headline news.
Thank you very much, Mr. Cornelius, and it was a pleasure being here. Very relaxed atmosphere in terms of, engaging me in a discussion, and I know this would not be the last one, and I look forward to many more.
Yes.
But you are quite aware that this is our action weekend as we celebrate this weekend as our Labor Day weekend activities. Unfortunately, we cannot have the traditional Labor Day march, but there are a number of activities that we are having over the weekend that I want to take this opportunity to invite persons out. So tomorrow morning, starting at 6 a.m., I'm inviting everyone to head down to St. Paul's for our health walk. We are going to assemble at the ATM, at the mini park area in St. Paul's and have a nice walk. And then later in the afternoon from 5 until 11, we are going to do a backyard barbecue at the Doors Great House, and it's a lot of music, entertainment, and food that you cannot afford to miss. It's just $30, and you can complain for food and drinks. Then, of course, on Sunday the 2nd, we give God thanks because He has been mighty good to us, not only as a party, but as a country and a whole, and we must give thanks. And we are attending the church service at the Antioch Baptist Church from 9:30 on Sunday, inviting all of the workers and all of the citizens to be out, and of course our comrades would be there. Later in the afternoon on Sunday, there is a sporting day, fun day at the St. Paul's Sporting Complex, starting at 2 p.m., basketball, football, all those.
Right.
And then later in that evening, we are going to go down to Galaxy, where we're going to have a wine and cheese cocktail starting at 7 o'clock, and it's only $20 donation we are asking. And Labor Day the 3rd, traditionally, the wreath laying ceremony, we are going to do that from 9 a.m., and we are recognizing our fallen heroes, our past leaders, you name it. We are going to be at the cemetery and the gravesites throughout the island. And then later in the afternoon, midday, I am inviting everyone to East Bastia, where we're going to have our Labor on the Move mini food fair right on the lawn opposite the playfield that persons refer to as the agro strip. And I must remind us that all protocols COVID protocols,
Good, right.
procedures would be in place. So it's a well-packed Labor Day weekend, and I want to take this opportunity to wish everyone a very safe and enjoyable weekend.
Thank you so much, Dr. Hanley, and thank you again so much for accepting our invitation. This was another edition of Voices here on WinFM 98.9. I was your host for today, and my special guest was the Honorable Dr. Jeffrey Hanley of the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party, and he is the parliamentary representative for constituency number 1, that is East Bastia. Thank you so much, Dr. Hanley,
You're most welcome.
and I look forward to having you back in the very near future. Stay tuned. We will be back at 12:30, where I will be speaking with a newcomer in the political arena. Her name is Jady Keynes of the Nevis Reformation Party.
Bless.
You found the sound. 98.9. Win FM.
We now bring you the headline news. The headline news is brought to you by Caribbean Alliance, The Grange, KDP Enterprises, Carib Brewery, and Development Bank.
We are faced with tough decisions every day, but choosing the right home or motor insurance shouldn't be one. You need fast claim settlement from a company that's been rooted for over 31 years. And don't forget the A Excellent rating by AM Best. Make the intelligent choice. Caribbean Alliance Insurance. Reliable insurance that you can count on. Get a quote today for your home, motor, contents, and liability insurance needs, and make the intelligent choice. Caribbean Alliance. Tomorrow secured. Local agents, Dalil Walwyn & Co. Limited. Telephone 465-2631 or 469-5303 for the Nevis office.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib. It's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
Everyone struggles at times. Even we too have our own struggles. Do you have a loan at the Development Bank of St. Kitts and Nevis and have fallen behind on your payments because of financial difficulties? Have your financial situation changed? If your answer is yes, visit the Development Bank of St. Kitts and Nevis or call 465-2288, extension 1101 or 469-5416 to make an appointment to discuss our debt evaluation and restructuring plan with one of our qualified officers. We are committed to working with you to make a sustained positive difference in your life.
Shipping your cargo shouldn't be a hassle. It can be as easy as a single call to Amerijet International.
With the WIN headline news, I am Devon Cornelius.
Making the headlines.
NIA is still pursuing expansion works at the Vance Emery International Airport. Applications open for teaching positions. Plans are still on the table for the renovation and expansion of the Vance Emery International Airport, says the Premier of Nevis, the Honourable Mark Brantley.
The last report I got on that is that the designers were still working, the airport designers. As I said, we had contracted a firm called Perez and Associates. They're the ones who did the Argyle International Airport in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And those are the ones we are working with in relation to this particular project.
Premier Brantley said the Nevis Island Administration NIA took the decision to pursue a smaller enhancement project at the Vance Emery International Airport instead of the agreement signed with B&L Worldwide Limited in February 2019 to transform the airport into an international hub. Brantley, who also serves as St. Kitts and Nevis's Civil Aviation Minister, explained why that decision was made.
The Vance Emery Airport, when I said we had scaled down the project, remember that initially we were anticipating doing an international airport there. When we looked at the costs, because the cost was coming in, I believe, was somewhere in the region of $90 million. When we looked at the costs and we considered that right next door in St. Kitts, 2 miles away, you have an international airport. In Antigua and in St. Martin, you also have international airports. We felt that it was probably an unwise investment to make, because we didn't see, for example, a plane would take off from Miami, American Airlines, to fly to RLB, and another one take off to fly to Vance Emery. We felt that that would be a bit much. And so what we opted is to scale back the project, but to create what we call a private jet facility. So the idea is to do renovation works there, expansion works there, to cater to the private jet market, which will allow us to continue to receive regional traffic, but would also allow, for example, when the hotels like Four Seasons have a charter that they bring in from, say, Miami with guests, that they could land right here at the Vance Emery International Airport. And then, of course, to cater to the private jet traffic. As you know, Nevis has a substantial number of very wealthy people who have homes here, many of whom own private jets. And a lot of them complain that they would like to fly directly into Nevis, get in their vehicle and go home.
Brantley was at the time speaking at his April 28th monthly press conference at the NIA's Cabinet Room when he made that revelation. The Nevis Island Administration, through the Nevis Air and Seaports Authority, had signed a concession agreement with B&L Worldwide Limited on February 6, 2019 for the development of the Vance Emery International Airport. Applications are currently being accepted from eligible persons to fill teaching positions for the upcoming 2021-2022 school year. All applicants should complete the Ministry of Education application form, which can be accessed from the Department of Education Services or the Ministry of Education Administrative Office. Applicants who wish to be considered for teaching at the early childhood or primary level must have at least 5 CSEC subjects, including English, mathematics, a social science subject, and a science subject. Individuals desirous of teaching at the secondary level must possess at least 5 CSEC subjects, including English and the relevant passes at the Cape level or above. It is important to note that only applicants who satisfy the minimum eligibility criteria will be considered. Additionally, all applicants who are short-listed will be required to attend a 2-week pre-service seminar or workshop slated for Monday, July 19th to Friday, 30th, 2021. They will also be required to sit a literacy and a numeracy test. All application forms, along with all supporting documents and a letter of recommendation from each reference, should reach the Ministry of Education no later than Friday, June 11th, 2021. These should be addressed to the Chief Education Officer, Department of Education Services, Finance Building, Airport Road, Bastia, St. Kitts. The completed application package can also be delivered to the Ministry of Education office currently located at the Early Childhood Development Unit on Victoria Road. For more information, call 465-2521.
In regional news,
there is a change in quarantine requirements for those entering the country with verifiable evidence of being fully vaccinated against COVID-19. Now, that's a major story following Cabinet's decision at its meeting on Wednesday. Provided these individuals also arrive in the country with a negative test, their quarantine period will be significantly shortened. ABS's Ursula Charles Jr. has more on the new arrangements.
If you are fully vaccinated, your quarantine period when you arrive in this country will now be a mere 7 days. This represents a halving of previous stipulations. Information Minister, the Honourable Melford Nicholas, says a negative PCR test result will still be required upon entry, and further testing will be done before quarantined individuals are allowed to roam.
Those persons are going to be allowed with a PCR test, a negative PCR test, to enter the island, and of course, upon their arrival, they will still be required to submit themselves to a 7-day quarantine as opposed to a 14-day quarantine. And after the 5th day of that quarantine, they will be required to undergo another PCR test, and provided it is negative, on the 7th day, they will be released.
Minister Nicholas adds this may be fortuitous for those travelling without children. Travellers older than 12 who have not had a vaccine will still need to quarantine for the full 14-day period.
We have not required a PCR test for children below the age of 12. So then we are dealing with a narrow sample of persons. But if you are part of the population outside of the age of 12 and you have not yet presented a vaccine or a full dose of the vaccine, then the reduced quarantine conditions would not apply to that person.
As for fully vaccinated residents, the minister says there are still no identifiable concessions or privileges.
Once we get up to that level where we're getting closer and closer to herd immunity, I think some of those modalities, similar to those privileges that you're asking for, similar to what was defined, I think more and more persons would be able to say, listen, I've got my full dosage, I'm able to demonstrate it, I'm taking it with me, and I think more and more of the barriers will fall in relation to our social interactions. But we're not there yet, and the critical issue is getting to herd immunity.
For ABS News, I'm Ursula Charles Jr.
Former LIAT workers have penned a letter to Prime Minister Mia Mottley requesting a meeting to discuss their plight. Word of this from Neil Cave, the spokesperson for the 55 Barbadian former workers, who have now gone 393 days without being paid monies owed to them. Cave said the situation had become so dire, it has led to at least one person attempting suicide and others struggling with depression, while persons have lost their homes and the ability to support themselves. He made the disclosure at an emotional press conference held yesterday, where the workers pleaded for financial assistance from government to help them to get their lives back on track.
We've written again to the Prime Minister days ago, pleading for some assistance and pleading for justice where this is concerned. We don't have anywhere else to turn, basically. And it's a situation that, if not fixed soon, if something doesn't happen soon, the destruction that is caused to the former workers of LIAT who served this region so diligently, it will be irreparable, I believe, and it already is in some cases. So we are asking and pleading and begging and urging our government to come to our aid and come to our aid very, very shortly, because it is a very critical situation. We're going to wait. Hopefully we'll hear something back this week and just get some kind of idea as to really when this nightmare is going to end. So we haven't put any time frame. I don't think that that's certainly the right thing to do when you're dealing with the office of the Prime Minister, but we are hopeful that we will hear something. We've been in silence for a year. We've been pleading. We want to know what's going on, and what we've been told, nothing has materialized, which leads me right down to the Attorney General's promise, based on the discussion with the leader of the opposition in Parliament, that an ex gratia payment would come. And again, we're grateful for the comments in Parliament, but we haven't heard any further about that.
We now bring you these international reports.
Dozens were killed in a stampede at a religious festival in Israel on Friday in what Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu called a heavy disaster. Tens of thousands of ultra-Orthodox Jews had gathered at the Mount Meron tomb for the annual Lag BaOmer commemorations, which include all-night prayer and dance. Ecstatic crowds congregated despite warnings from public health officials. Witnesses said they realized people had been trampled when an organizer appealed over a loudspeaker for the crowds to disperse. The National Emergency Medical Service said over 100 people had been injured, with dozens dead. Witnesses said some of the victims included children. Police said Thursday they had arrested 2 people for disrupting officers' efforts to keep order at the site. Videos on social media showed chaotic scenes as ultra-Orthodox men tried to push through walls of iron to escape the crush. Bodies lay on stretchers in a corridor covered in foil blankets. As paramedics clambered to reach the wounded, police shut down the site and ordered revelers out. Military helicopters took the wounded to hospitals. The tomb at Mount Meron is an annual pilgrimage site, one of the holiest sites in the Jewish world. Private bonfires at Mount Meron were banned last year due to public health restrictions. The lockdown measures were eased this year as a result of the country's rapid vaccination rollout.
Manika Gold sits by her husband's hospital bed just hours after she lost her mother to COVID-19. She's managed to find him oxygen, but not the ventilator doctors say he needs.
My mom expired in the morning today because of lack of ventilator. There was no ventilator, otherwise she couldn't survive. Now again, he needs ventilator support. Doctor says we have 2 days. I have tried, I don't know, thousands of numbers across India. Nobody is helping.
India's underfunded healthcare system is collapsing as it's overwhelmed by the world's biggest surge in cases. There are long lines outside oxygen suppliers around the country.
There's tension here as people wait in the hope of getting oxygen for their sick relatives. Some have been waiting for more than 12 hours. But with hospitals out of beds and oxygen, these suppliers are many people's only hope.
Aid began arriving from other countries this week, with the first cargo from the US touching down in New Delhi on Friday. The military plane was carrying more than 400 oxygen cylinders, hospital equipment, and nearly 1 million rapid tests. The US will also send hundreds of thousands of vaccines and the raw materials needed to manufacture more. That's as many states say they don't have enough doses to start inoculating all adults from Saturday as planned.
We were preparing for the vaccination campaign and we started mega campaigns also. We trained thousands of our healthcare workers and doctors, etc., to start this mega vaccination campaign. But there is no vaccine with us.
Health experts say the government failed to prepare for the second wave.
India was lucky enough to have a second wave which was delayed compared to many other countries out there, and we had a relatively long time to see what has happened to the rest of the world in terms of how severe the second wave was. And unfortunately, as a public health researcher, I sort of failed to see the kind of preparation that I was expecting that the government would be doing in the last 1 year.
Manika says her mother wasn't a victim of COVID-19, but a lack of preparedness by the government, and that she doesn't know what she'll tell her 8-year-old son if she goes home without his father. Elizabeth Puranam, Al Jazeera, New Delhi.
That was the Win FM Headline News. The Win FM Headline News was brought to you by Caribbean Alliance, The Grange, KDP Enterprises, Carib Brewery, and Development Bank.
Shipping your cargo shouldn't be a hassle. It can be as easy as a single call to Amerijet International.
Struggles at times. Even we too have our own struggles. Do you have a loan at the Development Bank of St. Kitts and Nevis and have fallen behind on your payments because of financial difficulties? Have your financial situation changed? If your answer is yes, visit the Development Bank of St. Kitts and Nevis or call 465-2288 extension 1101 or 469-5416 to make an appointment to discuss our debt evaluation and restructuring plan with one of our qualified officers. We are committed to working with you to make a sustained positive difference in your life.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib, it's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
We are faced with tough decisions every day, but choosing the right home or motor insurance shouldn't be one. You need fast claim settlement from a company that's been rooted for over 31 years. And don't forget the A Excellent rating by AM Best. Make the intelligent choice. Caribbean Alliance Insurance. Reliable insurance that you can count on. Get a quote today for your home, motor, contents, and liability insurance needs, and make the intelligent choice. Caribbean Alliance. Tomorrow secured. Local agents, Dalil Walwyn & Co. Limited. Telephone 465-2631 or 469-5303 for the Nevis office.
WINN is 98.9. 98.9 is Win FM.
There is nothing like a mama's love. It's the Mama's Love Mother's Day 3-day weekend sale. Show Mama love this weekend at the Hotswoods Building Center, St. Kitts, Nevis, and the Furniture and Appliances Showroom and Ashley Furniture Home Store on St. Kitts with 25% off store-wide. Yes, this Mother's Day weekend starting on Thursday, May 6th to Saturday, May 8th. Show Mama love and get 25% off store-wide at both Hotswoods Building and Nevis centers, as well as the Hotswoods Furniture and Appliances and Ashley Furniture Home Store on St. Kitts. Get 25% off this Mother's Day weekend as we show Mama love at the Hotswoods Building and Nevis centers and the Hotswoods Furniture and Appliances and Ashley Furniture Home Store on St. Kitts. Show Mama love this Mother's Day weekend, Thursday, May 6th to Saturday, May 8th at Hotswoods. Terms and conditions apply. See stores for details.
Everything's gotta go. Horsford's Automotive, everything gotta go. Clearance sale is happening now. All 2018, 2019, and 2020 models gotta go. Yes. Come to Horsford's Automotive and get $10,000 off select 2020 models. That's right. Horsford's Automotive is making room for 2021 by offering $10,000 off select 2020 models. And that's not all. Come now and get 0% down payment. No payment until May 2021. $500 in free groceries, free servicing for 1 year, free bill of sale, free tinting, free registration, free accessories, and free licensing. Horsford's Automotive, everything gotta go clearance sale. The biggest clearance sale event of the year. Select 2020 vehicles, price to go. Everything gotta go. Terms and conditions apply. See store for details.
Good afternoon, St. Kitts and Nevis, and welcome back to Voices on WinFM 98.9. I'm your host for today, Devon Cornelius. Good afternoon to all of you in Radio Land, of course, those at home and abroad. Good afternoon to all of you who have joined us via social media, such as Facebook and YouTube. And welcome to another edition of Voices on your radio station. This is WinFM 98.9. This morning, we touched base with Dr. Jeffrey Hanley, the parliamentary representative for East Bastia, and he is of the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party. This afternoon, we are heading over to Nevis, and we are speaking with Jady Keynes of the Nevis Reformation Party. She has been recently launched and announced as the NRP's candidate for Nevis 1 St. Paul's, and she will be representing the party in the upcoming Nevis Island Assembly elections, whenever those elections are called. And so we will be having a conversation with her. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to be a part of our program. For those of you who are interested in calling in later, the numbers to call are 466-0989-762, 0989, and 662-0989. Also, we have our WhatsApp number, which is 662-2204. Thank you guys so much. Let us say a quick thank you to our sponsors, a short break, and we'll be right back with Jady Keynes.
Here are your Horsford's Value Mart IGA Value Club Blue Tag specials from April 26th through May 2nd. Western oils, $9.99 each. Essential Everyday or IGA canned fruit, $6.99. Essential Everyday salad dressings, $6.99. IGA or Essential Everyday popcorn, 3-pack, $4.95. Yoplait yogurt, $3.39. Eggo waffles, $11.99. And now our very low weekly value deals. Essential Everyday Spiral and Shells, $1.79. Langer's Apple Juice, $6.99. Kellogg's Cereal, $9.99. Hunt's Spaghetti Sauces, $4.99. Stone Ridge Ice Cream, $16.99. Arm & Hammer Laundry Detergent, just $14.99. Shop smart, shop Value Mart. Sea listo y haga sus compras aquí a Value Mart.
Good afternoon and welcome back to Voices. I'm your host for today, Devon Cornelius. Good afternoon to all of you and thank you guys so much for tuning in to WinFM 98.9. I am here with JD Keynes of the Nevis Reformation Party. JD, good afternoon. How are you doing?
Good afternoon, Devon. Are you hearing me clearly?
Yes, I am. Crystal clear.
Good afternoon so much, Devon, and good afternoon to everyone listening under the sound of my voice. I am doing quite well on this Friday afternoon. The beautiful island of Nevis. I'm so sorry that you're not here to experience what I'm experiencing right now, but I would presume that the weather is quite similar on the sister island. So good afternoon to you, and thank you so much to you and the staff at WinFM for having me this afternoon on Voices. I mean, it's a big deal if I'm able to make it to Voices, so I feel quite special this afternoon. And of course, I have to extend special greetings to my family members, my friends, my well-wishers, and of course, to the constituents of Nevis 1 in the parish of St. Paul. Good afternoon to every one of you, and I hope that you are having a wonderful afternoon and you are gearing up for an exciting weekend, because I know that we have quite a bit happening on the island of Nevis. And before I go any further, not so much of a bright note, but I can't not offer my condolences to the Smith and Stevens families on the island of Nevis. Primarily, most of them actually are from the area of Cuddock Road and Ramsbury, and so we want to say offer condolences to them on the passing of their family's matriarch. So please accept my deepest sympathies. I know that their matriarch would be laid to rest tomorrow. And I also want to offer condolences to the Bartlett family. We know that the NRP's Dr. Patricia Bartlett would have recently lost her mom, and she too will be laid to rest tomorrow. So I know that for some it's a great and exciting time, but for your families it is not so great and exciting. But we want you to be comforted in knowing that many of us are here for you, and we hope that you are able to get through this difficult time holding on to the memories that you've shared with your loved ones.
And thank you so much, JD. Thank you so much for accepting our invitation here at WinFM, and we look forward to touching base with you in the near future. I too would like to express my condolences to the Smithen and the Bartlett family. Now, JD, we're here to talk some politics, and we're here to speak with you as you are new and young to the political arena. You have been recently launched and announced as the new NRB candidate for Nevis 1 for the upcoming Nevis Island Assembly elections. Let me first congratulate you, and I wish you nothing but the very best. Now, JD, my first obvious question would be, why has JD entered politics? And why now?
Okay, thank you for that, Devon. Fair question, of course. Persons who know me would say that this really comes as no surprise to them, particularly because I have always been involved in community service from a very young age. It's something that I didn't even have a choice as a child, because my parents would have ensured that I understood what it is to give back to the community. And, as a child, you don't have finances, so you're not able to financially give to the community, that you're able to give in the area in the form of support. And so and community service. So I would have done that from a child. And so this is nothing new to me. But as it relates specifically to politics, which is much larger, I have always, as I mentioned, wanted to serve my community and have always been serving, but I felt like the time had come for me to do it at a greater level. I look around at what is happening on the island of Nevis, and I am not particularly pleased. I think that while there are some areas where we are doing fairly okay, I think that there is so much more that can be achieved. I think that the reason why we are not achieving all that we possibly can, or even more, is because we don't have the right persons at the helm to make these decisions. And so I decided, listen, JD, your heart is in the right place. You know what community service is. There are various aspects of government that you can contribute positively to, and you also understand what it takes in terms of teamwork in getting a job done or accomplishing a task. And I decided, listen, JD, you need to get into the ring. You need to offer your service to your community at a higher level. You need to answer the call of the people of Nevis 1, St. Paul's, because we've been crying out for adequate representation for some time, and that is what I have done. And which better party to do it with than the Nevis Reformation Party that has proven that it has always been about peace, progress, and prosperity.
Now, JD, you bring to the table a number of qualifications and experience as you have worked in media and communications. You have been in journalism, so let me say that you are no stranger to the media. You are no stranger to people. You have been, in education. You have your classes, and so just like my previous guest, I think you guys share some similarities in terms of having a connection with the people. Now, with all of the expertise that you have, the experience, being able to touch base with people, being able to understand the people, that, in my opinion, is the reason as to why you chose this path of politics. However, my question would be, why did you choose to run on an NRP ticket, considering that the party, suffered some loss at the polls over the years? Why did you choose to run on their ticket?
Thank you for that. And Devon, a lot of persons ask me that question because, yes, and I can boldly say, because it is not a secret, that the NRP, despite its efforts, would have lost considerably in recent years, lost the elections, that is. However, we've realized that even though we have not been elected to office in recent years, the reality is people still rely on the Nevis Reformation Party for guidance. People still rely on the Nevis Reformation Party for support. Now, the Nevis Reformation Party aligns itself with some principles that I am particularly fond of. When I look at both sides, because I do, and I encourage persons to do that, look at both sides. Well, I say both because in this right now we have two political parties. But if there were to be additional political parties, I encourage people to listen to all of the political parties. Give everyone an opportunity to state why they think that they are the best suited. For me, it is an easy and clear choice in the NRP. The NRP has proven that it is competent in the area of producing programs and policies that can positively affect the lives of Nevisians and those who call Nevis their home. NRP did this when it was in office in 2006, when it was last in office, elected to office in 2006, and it has proven that that is what it stands for. Another thing that I particularly like about the NRP is its all-inclusive approach. And if you know me, you know that is me, that is JD. I tend not to ostracize anyone because we have a difference of opinion. We have different political affiliations. That's not me. And the NRP has been that way for as long as I can remember. And I decided, listen, I want to align myself with a party that represents a lot that I stand for. No, I'm not saying the NRP is perfect. Of course not, because if it were perfect, then we wouldn't be in opposition. So, yes, even with its imperfections, I still feel like the NRP is the best suited. And particularly right now, as the NRP is on a mission to rebrand and restructure how it is doing things, I said, man, if there was ever any doubt, when I looked at how the NRP was redirecting its approach, I said, man, there's no doubt anymore. Under the leadership of Dr. Janice Daniel Hodge, I think that the NRP is on the right path. We have the backing of the Honorable Cleone Stapleton Simmons, who is the only elected member of the opposition in the Nevis Island Assembly, but she is standing her ground. She is proving that, hey, even though it's just one of me, I can go out there and represent my party. I can be the voice of the opposition. And hey, I want to be aligned with such greatness.
Thank you, JD. Now, new political candidates often say that they will bring something new to the table. I know that you're coming to this arena with experience. You are young in age and you have been out there. Now, candidates often say that they're bringing something new. They're bringing a different style of politics. My question to you, JD, why should the people of Nevis, by extension the Federation, and specifically the St. Paul constituency, believe that JD will bring about a different style of politics?
Let me tell you what JD wants to bring about, because the reality is people can say anything. People tell you anything to get elected. People tell you that if I'm in office, I'm going to look out for your interest. I'm going to put the interests of the constituency and the constituents above my own. People will tell you that I'm going to be different to who was there before. I am going to make sure that you're well represented. However, when they get into office, particularly when they are elected and particularly when they are in office, when their party is in government, you see something different. Now, I think that speaks to the structure of a party, and it speaks to you as an individual in terms of your strength. Now, anybody who knows JD knows that I am no easy walkover. And I don't say that to come across as a bully, but I say that to come across as somebody who is strong. And I think what St. Paul's requires at this time is strong leadership. I have already expressed to the Honorable Dr. Daniel Hodge, who I love dearly, that no disrespect, but you cannot ask me to come, you and me, you referring to the party, you cannot ask me to come and offer my service and go out there and talk to the people of Hamilton and Ramsbury and Quaddercourt and Bath Road and Government Road and Low Street and Cedar Trees, etc., Stony Grove, Lower Stony Grove, Pump Road. You cannot ask me to go out there. Tell them to trust me. Tell them to give me their support. Tell them that I would look out for their interest. And when I get into government, not give me an opportunity to do so. I've told her that will not work. That will not happen under JD Keynes. And like I said, because of the kind of personality that I have, the kind of person that I am, and the track record that I have run, people would understand that is very hard to happen with JD as the representative for St. Paul's. The problem that we are having is people are saying what you want to hear now. And when you get into office, you're saying, my hands are tied. You're giving excuses. Boy, I want to do it, but so-and-so is not allowing me. That won't be the case with me. That won't be the case. And so, yes, I agree that everyone has a similar speech in terms of saying that they will bring something new to the table. But I am proving that I am something new, that is who's coming to the table in my demeanor, my approach, my character, the type of person I am. I have already been proving that. And for those of you who may not know me in that vein, I ask you to just observe me and see for yourself. Don't immediately come in with a negative mindset that I have always supported this particular party and I will die supporting that party. At the end of the day, are you going to die suffering? Are you willing to die knowing that your children's future is not secured? I don't think you want to take that risk. As a parent, I for sure am not prepared to take that risk.
Thank you, JD. You know, you said something earlier that stuck with me, and I if I may, I would want to expound on it. You know, in St. Kitts and Nevis, the politics it's the energy in the political arena is high, the atmosphere in St. Kitts and Nevis, and almost every topic has some politics in it. And I am particularly pleased that you encouraged people to listen to both sides. Yes, you may be a supporter of the NRP, you may be a supporter of the CCM, you may be a supporter of the political parties on St. Kitts, whether it's Labour, PAM, or PLP. But hearing from each side, you should be able to compare and contrast. And you should be able to say, well, this person should receive my vote because I believe that they can bring something different to the table. But JD, before I continue,
okay,
sure, you go ahead.
Yes, I wanted to jump in here and say this. I want people to understand, because even me, I say all the time, I owe no one my freedom. And I will not, listen, if the NRP is proving that it's doing nonsense, if we are elected into office and we prove that we are doing nonsense, JD is not going to be around, because I owe no one that level of loyalty. At the end of the day, I align myself with a particular party because I recognize that the party has proven that it is best suited. But if the party is taking a turn for the worse, and people are being selfish and forgetting who elected them and forgetting why they are there, JD cannot be a part of that. And that is the approach that I want people to take. Not saying that you are going to go around and threaten people or hold a party at ransom. But the reality is no one died and left Nevis for any of us in a will. Nevis and St. Kitts by extension belongs to all of us. And so we each have a stake in what happens here. And the sooner we realize that politics is not necessarily something bad, politics must happen, politics must exist, because we need people to govern our affairs. It will happen regardless. So I need people to get away from the notion that politics is something bad. Politics is what we make it. And so if we continue to curse each other in the name of politics, then we are making politics toxic. If we continue not to speak to each other in the name of politics, we are making it toxic. If we continue to deny qualified people opportunities in the name of politics, then we are the ones who are making it toxic.
Right, JD, let us take a short break to say thank you to our sponsors, and we will be back shortly to continue this conversation. You are listening to WinFM 98.9 with your host, Devon Cornelius, and I'm here with JD Keynes of the Nevis Reformation Party.
There is nothing like a mama's love. It's the Mama's Love Mother's Day 3-day weekend sale. Show Mama love this weekend at the Halswoods Building Center, St. Kitts, Nevis, and the Furniture and Appliances Showroom and Ashley Furniture Home Store on St. Kitts with 25% off store-wide. Yes, this Mother's Day weekend starting on Thursday, May 6th to Saturday, May 8th. Show Mama love and get 25% off store-wide at both Halswoods Building and Nevis Centers, as well as the Halswoods Furniture and Appliances and Ashley Furniture Home Store on St. Kitts. Get 25% off this Mother's Day weekend as we show Mama love at the Halswoods Building and Nevis Centers and the Halswoods Furniture and Appliances and Ashley Furniture Home Store on St. Kitts. Show Mama love this Mother's Day weekend, Thursday, May 6th to Saturday, May 8th at Halswoods. Terms and conditions apply. See stores for details.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9 Win FM.
Welcome back to WinFM 98.9's edition of Voices. I'm your host for today, Devon Cornelius, and we are speaking with JD Keynes from Nevis. She has been recently launched and announced as the Nevis Reformation Party's candidate for Nevis 1 in the upcoming Nevis Island Assembly elections, which are constitutionally due in 2022. However, they have launched their candidate for Nevis 1, and we're having a conversation with her. Good afternoon to all of you who have joined via the radio land. Of course, those at home and abroad. Those of you who have joined via social media, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to be a part of this special edition of Voices. JD, welcome back.
Thank you so much for having me. And for those of you who've just joined us, thank you for coming on board. Thank you for listening. It's always a pleasure. And don't just listen to me on this opportunity. I'm hoping that you can follow me on social media so that you can know where I will be next. And even when you see me, you know, you can come, even if you've never had a conversation before, and give me some feedback, give me some tips, give me some ideas, tell me some areas that you have that you think are concerning. You know, I am open. I am a very approachable person. You can call me. You know, as long as there is respect from you, there is respect from me. And yes, because as I said before we went on break, this country, St. Kitts and Nevis, and this island, Nevis, belongs to all of us. And so we each need to play our part in ensuring its success.
Now, JD, you are new to the political arena and you are seeking office. You are seeking the support of the constituents of St. Paul's Nevis 1. You are asking them to send you to Parliament to represent them in the Nevis Island Assembly. Now, if elected to office, what are some areas that you think need attention and that you would make your priority to address?
Thank you. Now, the NRP, if elected to office, has a lot of work cut out for it. We would have to, we are already analyzing and assessing what exists right now in the current Nevis Island administration. And so we realized that immediately we wouldn't be able to take on major projects because we would have to be engaged in a system of overhaul, a system of cleanup. And I'm not talking about cleanup in the way that we loosely use that term in politics, but I'm talking about cleanup, correcting, righting some of the wrongs that the current administration has done. And quite frankly, there are many. So that is a task that we know that we will face if elected to office immediately. However, if I am to zoom in on specific areas, for me personally, I believe that there's much work that needs to be done in the area of education and training. And when I say education and training, I'm not just talking about at the tertiary level where people go off to university or even study online and get their tertiary level education. They get their masters, their bachelor's degrees, their associate's degrees, etc. Yes, we need some of those, but I'm talking about education and training from the grassroots level, you know, coming up. I find that, and as the mother of a fairly young child, I find that a lot of our children at the early childhood level are struggling. You find that children are getting well into primary school and they still don't know their letter sounds. We need to figure out how we are reaching some of these children. There are children in high school who are even those who graduated high school and they are not able to write a proper letter. And I believe that education and training needs an overhaul, or let me not use the term overhaul, needs some adjustments, because we have some very skilled people in education and training, people at very high levels as well. But I think it comes down to the policy direction where we are lacking, and we need to understand and appreciate that we cannot be teaching every child the same way. How JD learns, Devon may not learn. And that we recognize that and we are able to adapt some creativity in our schools, in our classrooms, I think we will do more. Also, our teachers need to be empowered, because an empowered employee goes above and beyond. An empowered employee does so much more. They go above beyond the call of duty, and that is something that I need to see. Also, training. We have to understand that even though we may have two children in the same household, same upbringing, same mother, same father, same school, same teachers, they are two completely different children. And it means that while while Cassian may decide to be a teacher, and Cassian is taking her education seriously, Kwame may not do that. Kwame may be very good with his hands. And so rather than trying to force both of them along the same path, we need to find ways of pushing what Kwame is good at. And so the training aspect, we need skills training, because if COVID-19 has not taught us anything, it has taught us that, listen, we cannot be reliant on just one area. Not everyone who has the office job is necessarily going to succeed in life. We need persons to fix our computers. We need the barbers. We need the hairdressers. We need the plumbers. We need the carpenters. We need the masons. And so education and training, boosting those areas, I think, is something that I definitely want to do. And equally, entrepreneurship. Again, coming back to COVID-19, persons need not rely only on one stream of income anymore. And entrepreneurship doesn't necessarily mean that you are giving up your regular job. You can still be employed 9 to 5 or overnight, however. But it's good to look at avenues for additional income, legally, of course. And I think that by boosting entrepreneurship, guiding people in areas that they can sustain themselves and their families, will be better off for it. Also, so those two, education and training and entrepreneurship, those are two of the areas that I personally am pushing, particularly for the constituents of Nevis 1 St. Paul. We also have healthcare. Even healthcare will never be perfect. Healthcare will never be 100%. We'll never be able to please everyone, especially in the area of healthcare. But I do believe that there are certain things that can be done. When we look at the state of our health centers on the island of Nevis, I mean, it's no wonder that certain areas of healthcare would be struggling. If we were to invest, if we were to prop up the health centers, then we can take some of the strain off of the hospital. Because a lot of the things people go to the hospital for, they can really be done at the health centers. And if you've traveled to other places, you would realize that the health centers are capable of doing so much more. And so that's one of the areas. And of course, our party leader, Dr. Janice Daniel Hodge, would have spoken at length about sustainable development and the blue and green economy. Now, this is the direction that many islands and countries around the world are going. But here in Nevis, we're not seeing that. And that is one of the things I've realized over the years, that the government has successfully brought on board persons who are elected to office, but there's no diversity in terms of skill set. But here in the Nevis Reformation Party, we have diverse skills and areas of expertise. And so our party leader, she is versed in this. And I mean, why not go with the party that has a diverse skill set? Because yes, you will be a parliamentary representative, but you're going in there and you will hold ministerial portfolios. And so you need to be equipped, or at least know where to go to get certain things done. So those are just some of the areas that I think require attention, Deborah.
And thank you so much, JD. Now, you, as I mentioned before, you worked in the media, communications specialist, and you worked sometime as a journalist, and I think you also have been working, or worked rather, in the education sector. I am of the opinion that one should not wait until they are elected to do certain things. What have you done, or what have you been doing now, or what have you done before, prior to your announcement as a politician?
Devon, you see, the problem that we have is that people see politics and they say, okay, I will be this, people will look at me with respect and honor, and I will be invited to certain events, etc. And so, yes, I want to be a part of that. When in reality, they've never done a thing for their community. And politics is about community service. Politics is about reaching people and being that source of inspiration, that source of reliance for people. And that is why you find that a lot of persons wait until they want to get into politics, or somebody tells them that they should be a politician, to start giving food hampers, to start going in the communities, to start sitting by the shops, to start catching bus, to start donating to the schools. All of these things that really should form part of your everyday life if you're genuine and you care about the development of your community. Now, if I were to talk about some of my involvement, I would be here all day, and neither you nor I have time for that.
Right.
But the reality is, and I'm not trying to be boastful, it's a matter of fact, and facts are stubborn things. And as a matter of fact, I'm telling you that some of the things that I've been involved in, I mentioned earlier, I was involved in community services from a young age. I was a brownie guide, a rainbow guide, a brownie guide, a girl guide, a ranger guide. So I was involved in the First Nevis Rainbow Brownie and Girl Guide unit. I am an Anglican, grew up in the Anglican Church, and so I would have been a part of the Anglican Young People's Association, AYPA. I was parish youth coordinator for 2 terms. I have been involved in Culturama, which is Nevis' summer festival, for many years and in different capacities. And so I was a contestant at one point. I've been a chaperone or a pageant coach, a pageant consultant. I've worked, well, not worked because it's nothing for reward, but I have coordinated a children's troupe for Culturama as well. I've even offered my services free of cost to the government in areas where my services and expertise are needed, because for me it is not just all about money. If it were all about money, I would be rich and not a poor working woman. But the reality is, it's about bettering your community, bettering your society. And so that is just a snapshot of some of the things I've done. In the NRP, I am a part of the Women's Arm as PRO. I am a member of the St. Kitts Nevis Netball Association as PRO. I would have assisted my alma mater, the University of the Virgin Islands, by being a part of its dedicated alumni recruitment team for many years. So I've done a lot in the community. I've done a lot. Some persons would have reached out to me for assistance, and some I've just done off of my own, because that is, we have to be here helping each other. You mentioned earlier about my involvement in education. I've never been a teacher formally, but I would have started language arts classes for children in the early childhood sector, but from age 5 to give or take about 8, 9, so from kindergarten to grade 2 and then eventually to grade 3, because I recognize that was an area where our children were struggling. So that's just a snapshot of some of the things I've done, and none of this had anything to do with getting involved in elective politics.
Now, JD, as someone who is seeking office, you've been recently launched as a political candidate. So as someone who is seeking office, one would assume that you are up to date with today's happenings. And of course, being someone who worked in the media for a number of years and a communications specialist, you would be quite aware of the climate, the current climate, and what is happening in St. Kitts and Nevis. But in this regard, we are talking about a global issue. We are talking about the COVID-19 pandemic, which has affected all of us in some way or some form. Many people lost their jobs, livelihoods were displaced, and it really wreaked havoc, across the world, and people today are still suffering from that. Now, my question to you, JD, would be along the lines of vaccination, as we're seeing now, St. Kitts and Nevis, like other countries across the region and across the world, are racing to herd immunity, whether it be they are offering the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine or the Moderna, the Pfizer, the Johnson & Johnson. The fact of the matter is, governments, countries are racing to herd immunity to bring back some form or some state of normalcy to the economy and, of course, to our communities. My question, what is your stance on mandatory vaccination, as we are hearing that there are talks about making the vaccine mandatory, not necessarily here at home, but globally?
I want to answer that question or start answering that question by commending the work of the National COVID-19 Task Force. I think that they have been really working hard in terms of keeping us safe during this pandemic, and I think that their efforts should be commended. And here on Nevis, I can definitely see the work of the representatives. I actually would have joked with one of the members of the task force recently and said, man, it seems like you don't even have time for sleep. So I know that they are definitely putting in the work. Having said that, though, I realize that more and more persons are taking a keen interest in their health, as they should. And people aren't just getting up and taking medications like once ago. People aren't just getting up and taking vaccinations like once ago. And personally, I think that this is commendable because we need to take our health seriously. And that is why I am of the view that the focus now should be on educating the public about the vaccine, its pros, its cons, rather than forcing people to take a vaccine which they have concerns with. And I say force because recently there was an announcement on the island of Nevis by the Premier as it relates to vaccinations and the non-national community. I am totally against this approach, which says that in order to, and I am not quoting him, so I am paraphrasing, but essentially it's saying that in order to get your work permits renewed, or to get a work permit or even your residency status addressed, anything of that sort, non-nationals would be required to show proof that they would have been vaccinated against COVID-19. And so I am totally against this approach. I am not necessarily against vaccination, hear me out, but I am against the approach or the attempt at bullying people, knowing very well that many of them are desperate at this time, and I'll tell you why. Desperate because some have lost their jobs, and so they have not been able to pay their work permits. That's no different to the locals who would have lost their jobs and are unable to pay certain bills. However, we're speaking about the non-national community, and because many have lost their jobs, they can't return home at this point in time because there is no access to funding to do so. And so I say we should embark on a serious and massive education campaign, educating people about the vaccine, letting people understand. Go to them. People don't necessarily have to come to you all the time because guess what? When we want the votes, we are going to the people. So how is it now that they must come to us? No. Go to the people, meet them where you can, meet them at their levels and engage in a massive and serious education campaign. And you know what? We would be surprised how many persons willingly come forward to take the vaccine, having been educated. And if they choose not to, then that's okay, but it should be their choice. Also, it is important for me to say here, as we address this, that we can't use the non-national community when it suits our interests. That is exploitation. And I say that because when it's convenient, we talk about, and it's a sad rumor that is being spread, particularly on the island of Nevis. Sorry, I hope you're hearing me. It's a sad rumor
Yes, I'm hearing
that is
you.
being spread of Nevis that the NRP doesn't care about the non-national community, and if you were to vote for the NRP, you would be deported, etc. Right? But the NRP has proven that it is all-inclusive, whether you are a resident, a citizen of Nevis, or you call Nevis your home by virtue of being a resident, as long as you regularize your status with us. And if you aren't able to, because of financial reasons, you come in and you let us know, and we work with you, then that is all that we are asking. But here it is, when it comes to elections, we spread that terrible rumor about the Nevis Reformation Party to the vulnerable persons who are members of the non-national community. But now, because we want to prove that our numbers can go up in terms of vaccinations, we are exploiting the non-national community. The same people who we claim that NRP has no use for. We are exploiting the non-national community and telling the non-national community that you must be vaccinated if you want a work permit. You must be vaccinated if you want residency. That is exploitation. And it is not too late. It is not too late for the person who would have made the statement to retract it. Mind you, I am not saying that person shouldn't be vaccinated. I am saying educate people, let people know the pros and cons, and then have them make up their minds. We cannot bully people just because we feel like they don't have a choice, and that is my take on that.
And thank you so much for your response, JD. JD, it is 20 minutes past the hour of 1. We are running out of time. I'm going to open the phone lines, and we are going to entertain some calls. The numbers to call are 466-0989, 762 and 662. Remember, we also have our WhatsApp number. You can only send a message at 662-2204. We are taking your calls. JD, we have a call. Caller, good afternoon. You are live on Voices.
Good afternoon, Mr. Cornelius.
Good afternoon.
And
how are you doing?
Good afternoon to JD Keynes online.
Good afternoon.
JD, I would like to know what plans do you have to shift the focus, shift the momentum from what we have observed as the ordinary in politics over the recent years, to bring back some semblance of reality and integrity and respect to the seat you're running for? I'm not specifically saying that there's something wrong with that seat, but what we have seen in politics in the recent years, what are your plans to shift from what we have seen to bring him back in a different way? You certainly represent the youth of Charlestown and the youth of Nevis, and I think many, many of us are looking for something different this time. So what plans, if you have any, and I don't want you to let go any secrets
I know.
that you would want to pull out of the hat later on. But
okay.
I'm listening and I'm hearing, and by the way, I'm very excited to see women in the forefront. This is women strong in Nevis time. And I'm looking for the women who have presented themselves to come with something different. And hopefully this will change the face of politics in Nevis and by extension, St. Kitts. I listen off here. Thank you.
Right. Thank you so much, caller, for your input. JD, just before you respond to that, we'll take another call. Do we have any callers on the line? The numbers to call are 466-0989, 762 and 662. Remember, you can shoot us a WhatsApp, whether it be a question or a comment, via 662-2204. If we have no calls at this time, JD, I will allow for you to respond to that.
Thank you so much, and I thank the caller for listening and for weighing in this way. Now, we have allowed politics, because we are the electorate, we have allowed politics to change our morals, our values. We accept a lot of negative things in the political season, and then elect people and expect them to operate based on integrity, and that is something I have an issue with. And let me speak specifically. We have gotten accustomed, and I say we because I like to speak of inclusion, but in this case I'm not necessarily included in this because this has never been offered to me, and had it been offered to me, I would turn it down because I know that I'm worth far more than that. But we have this practice of paying people for vote, and so once every 5 years, persons come around and we say, we are going to give you $1,000, and we are going to give you $2,000 or $500. That's once every 5 years, right, or thereabout. And so if we were to take it as every 5 years, that's 60 months, and so you are getting $1,000 every 5 years, which equates to, if my quick math is roughly about $16 a month, and persons are happy for the $1,000 every 5 years. Oh, Mary likes me, or John, let's say John, because there haven't been very many Marys before. but John likes me, and John is who I'm going to vote for because John gave me $1,000. That's $16 a month over a 5-year period. Tell me what you can do for $16 a month. Now, I am the parent of a young child, and I know I can't buy shoes for $16. I can't even buy bread to last me for an entire week for $16 because the minute I put it in the house, it's over. What can you do with $16 per month? And that is what we are doing. We are accepting this. I mean, and quite frankly, when people come with this, we need to dismiss them. We need to dismiss them. Rather, I am saying, instead of giving somebody $1,000 or $2,000 every 5 years for a vote, why not create an opportunity where that person can be employed and make $2,000 a month or $2,000 every 2 weeks? These are the kind of things that we need to do in St. Kitts and Nevis, and I speak specifically of the island of Nevis. Another thing,
JD,
we have become a community. Yes.
Just before you continue, stick a pin. Let us take in this call, and I'll allow you to continue. Caller, good afternoon. You are live on Voices.
Yeah, good afternoon. Miss Keynes.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
You know, I admire your courage, and you have a lot of experience, you know. Remember, you are the days in ZIZ where you were quite active. Maybe Devon don't know that.
Yes, I know that, Miss Henry.
Yeah, ma'am. You say nothing new. One question I have, though.
Yes.
The party had a policy of not running the same candidates in the local as in the federal. Is that policy still holding?
Okay, let me clarify. I understand what you're saying, but I just want to clarify. The policy speaks to not holding office in the federal government and the local government simultaneously. There's a slight difference, so I just wanted to clarify. But yes, that policy still stands.
Somebody come to me, but let me ask you again. Now, if that is your policy, and another one, remember you said that your party used to say they don't want anything from St. Kitts, would they be carrying out the same policy? Because right now, the SID pays the civil servants in Nevis. What is your thing on that? And my last question before I go, because I have a guess, is
okay.
Let me forget to know. Now, if the party policy is to run people only on one level, it means that if the women just per chance got in, they will have to run men for the federal seat, which has more power. Have you thought about it?
Right.
Right,
Thank you, Ms. Henry, for your question.
But I'll be able to respond, sure.
Go ahead, JD.
Okay, sure. So I just wanted to clarify, because, you know, words can be tricky. The NRP's policy speaks to not holding office in the federal government and the Nevis Island administration simultaneously. And so if you've been elected as a member of the federal government, that you cannot be a member of the Nevis Island administration at the same time. There is a difference to what Ms. Henry would have just said. So I just wanted to clarify that. But yes, that still stands. And the reason why it stands is because for now, yes, we would have had a different view before, and people are allowed to change their minds. If people didn't change their minds, we wouldn't have a unity administration in St. Kitts and Nevis. And so people can change their minds. There's nothing wrong with that. However, it's important to understand that for us right now, we recognize that there is so much work to be done on the island of Nevis, and we don't believe that persons can effectively and efficiently serve the people of Nevis simultaneously as they serve the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. Yes, you can have input. Yes, you can offer your suggestions, your ideas, but we believe that you need to be solely focused on one area in order for us to achieve the level, or get to the level that we are capable of achieving or getting to. Also, I'm not sure that the statement is true, not wanting anything from St. Kitts. And I know sometimes it's our local vernacular that we kind of just throw words out there, we put it in our own frame. But I don't know that the NRP has said that we don't want anything from St. Kitts. I mean, St. Kitts and Nevis is one federation. We do believe that there are certain aspects that Nevis should be able to handle, and we honor and respect that. We also honor and respect, and we want persons on the other side to honor and respect that. Equally, we honor and respect that there's a federal government, and so there are certain things that have to be addressed at a federal level. We honor and respect that. We are not trying to undermine anything that happens at that level. So to say that the NRP does not want anything from St. Kitts, that's not at all true, because I'm pretty sure, I mean, and this is bringing it down to very simple terms, but I'm pretty sure that we don't want a culture where persons on St. Kitts feel like, oh, we don't want anything from Nevis, and persons from Nevis feel like we don't want anything from St. Kitts, because that definitely ain't so. And if that's how we want to look at it, then that means when it's mango season, you can't be asking me for my mangoes over here, you know, because that means we don't want anything from Nevis. And when we want with KFC, well, I don't eat chicken, but when we want with KFC, we can't be asking. And that's me bringing it, a light moment, bringing it down to simple terms. But the reality is, that's not the view of NRP, that we are separating and we are saying ostracizing St. Kitts. No, not at all. And the last question that she asked, I forgot what it was. If you can remind me, I was taking notes, but then she dropped out a little bit, so I wasn't clear on what she said. But I want to go back to what the caller before her would have said as it relates to women in focus. As a woman, I am all for female empowerment. I am all for women being part of the decision making of anything, whether in the regular day-to-day jobs or even in government. I am all for women being empowered in that way. However, I am for it because I recognize that it has not been happening. I recognize that women aren't equally or fairly being treated. But I also don't want people to think that I am here, or the NRP has put forward a majority of female candidates just because we are women, or on the premise only that we are women. We are doing it because we are the most suited. We believe that we are the most suited at this particular point in time. If a male were to be the most suited person in my constituency at this point in time, or St. James or St. Thomas or wherever else at this point in time, he would get preference. And so the NRP is just leveling the playing field. We have created an opportunity where men and women can come forward. We are persons who would have supported another political party before, can feel embraced enough, can feel loved enough, and that their ideas will be welcomed enough that they can be a part of our political party. That is what we are doing. We are promoting inclusion. And so we are not necessarily lifting the women up against the men. We are putting the women on an equal level, at an equal level and an equal platform, because no longer should we be surprised when a woman becomes the Minister of Health, or when a woman becomes the deputy leader, or when a woman becomes the Prime Minister or the Premier. We should not, because we are not surprised when a male takes up that role. And while I'm here, Devon, allow me the opportunity to say this. Persons have been asking me, so you have a child, a fairly small child. By the way, my child is 8, and persons are asking me, well, how are you going to get it done knowing that you're a parent? Have you ever asked Amanda? Have you ever asked one of the male politicians, how are you going to get it done knowing that you're a parent? Doesn't he have just as much responsibility as a parent that I have? The reality is because we know that behind that male parent is a woman who is holding it together. Well, I am telling you, I am a woman who is going to hold it together as a parent and as a politician. So don't look down on us just because we are women. And also don't just push us up because we are women. Put us on an equal level. Put us on an equal platform.
JD, thank you so much. Thank you so much. We are out of time. It is 1:33, and so we will have to end our program. Let me say thank you so much for accepting our invitation here at WinFM to have a conversation on politics and on your recent announcement and launch as the new candidate for Nevis 1 of the Nevis Reformation Party. And I think the listeners are happy to hear from the NRP. They're happy to hear from JD Keynes. They have been hearing from you. as Ms. Henry noted, your work in ZIZ and you worked at NTV, and so they have been hearing from you, but now they're hearing from you in the political arena. So again, thank you so much for accepting our invitation, and I hope that you can be back in the future to have conversations such as these and of course on different topics. I wish you the best in your political journey, and I pray for God's speed. JD, have a wonderful Friday afternoon.
Thank you very much, Devon, and thank you to your listeners for indulging me this afternoon, and I look forward to returning. Be blessed.
Great. You are listening to another edition of Voices on WinFM 98.9. Today is Friday, April 30th, 2021. I was your host for today, Devon Cornelius. Until next time, stay safe. Continue to wear your mask. Continue to play a part in keeping St. Kitts and Nevis safe from the coronavirus disease. Join us tomorrow for another exciting edition of Inside the News. Thank you so much, and continue to have a wonderful Friday. It's a busy holiday weekend coming up. Have a fantastic Friday, a super Saturday, a blessed Sunday, and a marvelous Monday. Have a good one, everyone.
Everything's gotta go. Horsford's Automotive, everything gotta go. Clearance sale is happening.